pass it all the data that is being received from the PHP. Finally, I want to specifically specify the method type, and it has some default one. The post one is usually the default, but I like to do these things explicitly so as to not have any unpredictable results. And then finally the post parameters, and as we've seen, I have to put in a format variable for the contact switcher to work, and in my case it is JSON. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. Looks like I have an error. Oh, I didn't close the bracket there. Okay, that's better. Okay, so let's see what the code looks like now. I'm going to refresh that, and I'm going to look at my source code to see what happened. So down here I have my test link with an ID test that I specified, and up here is the jQuery for it. And here is the reason why I warned you about putting in a test, because otherwise you would have something unpredictable going on here. But now you have a clear test, and it does this post over to the page 2 with the JSON as a format, and it's going to run display books at the end of the response. It's a bit difficult to read the way they have it inline, but it is very similar, if not exactly the same, as my manual one I did here. Note the similarity, how my function is being run, display books at the end of the request. So something like the success, and that's what's happening here. And so let's see what's happening with that. Well, nothing will happen actually, because I don't have the function ready yet. So where am I going to put this function? I am going to put this function in a JS file, and I'm going to call it front-end.js. And how am I going to get to that JS file? I am going to add it to the layout, and I will be using head script prepend file. So head script is the view helper that allows me to link up external scripts. Now, why am I putting it in between a jQuery when it's not exactly jQuery related, it's my own file? Well, that's because chances are I'm not even going to be using this file unless I'm dealing with jQuery requests. Now, that's just my logic for this particular project, but of course you can put this anywhere that you want. You definitely want to put this before you echo out a jQuery, because if you use any jQuery related functions, they will not be available yet and your browser will throw errors. So make sure that the jQuery is the last thing you output. So we are prepending a file. Obviously the base URL and JS front end.js, and it is type text JavaScript. And just to be sure that this is actually working, I am going to put in a simple alert in my frontend.js. So if I've done everything correctly, once I refresh the page, I should see an alert. Here it is. So now I'm going to leave PHP for a while, and I am going to work on my front-end data. So first up, this is the function that I specified earlier in the complete of the AJAX link, and I'm just going to call my response variable response, doesn't matter, and here is how I'm going to format my response. Now if you choose the XML data, then of course you are going to put in your XML queries in here. I'm using JSON, so I'm going to use a JSON parser. The next thing is that I am assuming that this is the latest, greatest web browser out there, because I haven't included any JSON parsing libraries, so I am assuming the web browser has a native JSON set of functions. And unfortunately, Opera, even being the latest stage 10, still doesn't have JSON native functions. This is applicable only to Firefox 3.5 and Internet Explorer 8. So if you're doing this for the production purposes, you will definitely want to include a custom JSON parser from the JSON website. For now, I'm just going to be working with Firefox 3.5, which has native JSON stuff. Okay, so enough chatting about that. I am going to cycle through this response object I just created with the JSON parser, and this is a JavaScript like kind of for function. And the reason why I'm not using jQuery for this is because it's kind of an overkill, because this is a simple JavaScript object and you can cycle it using the raw JavaScript code without any problem. Now I will use jQuery to actually place the data in the right parts of the page. Now here's the big problem. If I just include the new set of books in this area here, then the accordion is not going to be applied to it. I can't enter new data to the area of the page that already has the accordion attribute applied. It's not going to work. Now I can still show you what's going to happen, and I think it's a good start to show you. The ID where all the books are going is books at the moment, and I am going to replace the HTML with a new one, and this is what needs to be in there for the accordion to work. It needs to have an ahref that is going to designate the title. So in this case it is one of the books and its title. H3 is just for formatting. The A is the important part, and the div is the important part. It tells the actual content. It is written by one of the authors there. I think that's the name of the variable, can't remember at this point. I'll change it if it doesn't work. Okay, so that's going to add this to the HTML part. And let's see what's going to happen.